Hello everyone, I'm Cave, and this is Ruffy in the Riverside. We're going to start a new game, and timer starts once these coins disappear. At the very beginning, we're going to learn the main mechanic of this game, which is the swap. Where by clicking R1, we can get a material saved onto our character, and then R2 lets us copy it onto another object. So, a lot of the puzzles in this game are going to be based off that swap mechanic, and we are going to just go from there. This is a indie platformer puzzle type game. It was made earlier this year, and one really nice thing that you'll notice is that there is cutscene skipping, and you can make dialogues go faster. That was something they added after release, which was very nice of them, because we did start speedrunning it before this, and this was just a common complaint that came up. To begin, we're going to go ahead and do some more swapping puzzles. So each of these people, you're supposed to like talk to them and figure out what painting they want, but we obviously know ahead of time. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll start making our way up to our first skip. So here you're meant to go follow Edler, who's that mole. You're meant to go follow him around. What we're going to do instead is come over this way, and we're just going to beat him to where we need to go. So if we jump this way, we can actually teleport straight to the area we need to by doing the spam hover. You'll see me do this a lot. The spam hover lets us get more distance off of our hovers, and we'll be using it for a couple big tricks later on. Coming here, we're first going to copy some ice. And we use this just to skip having to do some puzzles over on this side. So we're going to copy this onto the water, and now we can walk on the water. I jump because I think it's faster than actually running on the ice, but I'm not actually sure, to be honest. Coming up, we're also going to have our first instance of where we can multi-swap. So essentially, you can swap multiple objects at the same time. So here, we're going to take the check mark, and we're going to do both the X's. And then before the cutscene starts, we jump off just to get us closer to where we need to be after the cutscene. Once again, while this thing loads, we're actually going to start skipping our way back towards our next objective. You can technically make it farther than this. As you can see, I had some time to keep moving. But... Oops. I forget where my, I don't remember where my, what's it called? My timers go. I don't know where my intro is supposed to be honest. It's probably not there, though. Anyways, if you go any further than where I went right there, it actually just, like, breaks the game. So, we make sure to stop at that island specifically. We'll probably... the last one will be fixed after the next one. I'll actually remember to split there. One improvement I can definitely make on the run in general is knowing when to do the cutscene skipping, because you can see you get the red X sometimes. That's just like stuff that you can't skip or make go faster. So I think, you know, ideally at some point I memorize all of that. One tech you'll see me do a lot is, as far as routing goes, you know, going place to place. The biggest part is obviously keeping your stamina up. You lose stamina when you're sprinting. You can actually gain stamina back by running into coins. So you saw there, I picked up some coins, my stamina bar refilled back up. When you punch grass, it has a chance to drop stamina. So sometimes during routing, you'll see me when I need to get somewhere. I'll try to pass over blades of grass that I can punch and hope that coins drop out. So as far as RNG goes, that's really the only like real piece of RNG in this game, is hoping that the grass spawns coins. Otherwise, this section, you're not too stressed on time. You're basically like on a timer. You just gotta beat Edler up here to make sure you start the next cutscene as fast as possible. And I guess maybe I could talk a little bit about the story. For the story, there's this giant cube that is planning on destroying the world. And we are Ruffy, who has the power to swap things. And we've seen the swap, power a few times at this point. Mostly, honestly, a little fuzzy on the story at this point, because I played it once casually originally, and even then I was kind of skipping through the story. So, little fuzzy on that detail. But we do have to collect all of the Riverside letters to restore the town to full power and stop the enemy. So you can see he destroyed the Riverside sign, which is reminiscent of the Hollywood one. And coming up, we have our first main skip, and actually sort of like an asterisk on the run in general. So we run on an older version, 1.4, and that is because this version includes the cutscene skipping, which is great. But then in future versions, they actually patched this glitch we're about to do, where we skip this entire part of the game. You're meant to go to like 2 different locations and pick up these specific items to access the basilica. Basilic? I don't know what the word is. To access this building over here, you're meant to go and pick up some items. But what, shout out to Wheat, we found out, is you can just sort of jump at the wall and it just lets you in. Which is very nice. For us, not as nice for, you know. Not as nice for the developers, where I think normally they're pretty cool with like leaving stuff in, but not when it's that easy. It skips a pretty good portion of the game. So that saves about like 6-7 minutes depending on how fast you do the other section. But essentially, this is where you go to figure out where you need to go to get the next letter of Riverside. Hence the title Ruffy and the Riverside. Gonna ignore that that's a gold because I messed up the previous split. So that was gonna be gold no matter what I did. So I guess while this cutscene is playing, I can give a little bit of foresight as to what we'll be doing. The pattern is now going to be we're going to access these buried underground sections, which are block puzzles where you utilize the swap functionality. And when you do that, it allows you to progress into the area where you'll actually go and find the letter. So for the next 5 or so sections, it's going to sort of follow that same pattern where we go, we complete a puzzle, and then we go through another trial to get the letter. So we're actually heading right back to where we just were. So once again, we're going to go back to that same wall and float over. Trying to run into coins to make sure we keep our stamina up. Gonna punch some grass so that I don't have to wait to charge it back up. And then we do our spam hover. And you saw me use the spam hover for the basilica also. Basilica. Again, to get to the buried area faster, we're going to do the ice trick. And now we're going to do our first puzzles. Going to utilize the double swap to get both of those, or the multi-select. And that's going to push the ball into the... It's sort of like the Legend of Zelda puzzles, where you got to like move the ball into... Do I have enough? Whew. Sometimes it can be a little finicky. I'm probably losing time here because, yeah, you want to do it fast enough where you get all of them up before the next ball spawns, but what can you do? Then this one, this is the only one you can do this, where you can start going across before the cutscene happens. Once again, we're going to multi-select here. And that's our first buried underground section. So, now that we did that buried underground, it's going to fix this airplane over here. And this is going to take us towards our next letter. This sequence I actually like a lot. I think a lot of the puzzle in here is really cool. And of course with the speedrun, we've kind of routed it out efficiently. So first we're going to copy this sleeping dinosaur. And the first thing we're going to do is bring it over to this other wall and copy it over onto these ones, just because that's how we solved that puzzle. Then we're going to copy this broken TV, put it onto this one so that we can get the next part of our quest. And then we're going to go head back to that first wall we were at and solve the rest of this puzzle. So we're turning the one thing to lava, changing the top part to wood so it breaks that, and then we put the water back on. Here, you're supposed to talk to this bird to get the puzzle, but essentially you put the 2 1s on top and the 7s on the bottom. Jump in, we get teleported over here, and we're able to walk in the water because we kept it as water. The wood floated it over to the water sprout, and then those sleeping dinosaurs are fine because we made them sleep earlier. So what we're looking for 5 different bottles, which activates some sort of sun sequence. So we're going to go around collecting those. The next one is up here. We have to turn the water into lava, and then we jump on, or we destroy that bridge, rather, to get the next bottle. Next, we're coming back to where we got the sleeping dinosaur. And we have another puzzle to solve. This one we just need to make sure all the outside are 1s. And here is our next bottle. You may notice I'm only holding 1 bottle. That's because after these wall puzzles, you still have to go like outside and pick them back up. So the one that we got earlier, we're actually going to have loop back around to get that. This bottle's pretty easy. Just turn the up arrow to a down arrow. We'll come in and grab the next one. There's a cool time save here if we get the right enemy pattern, which it looks like we might. So you can jump on that enemy to get up here. And then this is the bottle that we've skipped earlier. So we come back, bring it back to this guy, and the wheel activates. This is another little puzzle skip. Shout out to Spicy Tacos for finding this. You're meant to turn these stone blocks into wood, but you can actually just do the spam hover to jump on them. Ooh, I missed that one. Can I make it to land? Nice. Alright, and now this is a pretty easy puzzle. We're just going to utilize this wheel to copy the right symbols onto each spot. And I try to position myself in a good spot so that I can copy this moon symbol and put it right onto the sun. And with that, it turns to night, which is going to drop like a meteor, and we're going to use this meteor to get across the gap that we haven't looked at yet because we know we couldn't cross the gap, but now we can utilize this meteor to cross it because it's changing everything around it into ice. Once again, we're going to skip changing stuff to wood and just hover to it. Now we're going to head over this way to cross and finish up the Crash Island section and actually get to the temple where we can pick up our first letter of the run. Very exciting stuff. It's going to be ice forming here, but we have it memorized, so the only thing we really have to worry about is getting hit by the cyclones, which cut it a little close there, but I think the game's pretty lenient with it usually. Oh my gosh, not that lenient. I mean, that wasn't really lenient. I kind of just ran right into that, so that's on me. It's all good though. Just a little bit of time lost. No biggie. Alright, so now we are in this temple section, and we're just going to try to speed through and pick up this last, or this first letter, rather, not the last one. Here we have a puzzle that you're meant to do a whole bunch of stuff, but using the Oh my gosh. Using the spam hover, you can actually just get around it. There we go. It's not that hard. I made it look a lot harder than... I made that seem a lot harder than it is. Gonna wait here for the spikes just because they come up real quick. They can mess you up. Here we have another puzzle where you're meant to... you know, look through the grass to figure out which ones are the proper ones you can jump on. But again, we already kind of know which ones are good. So you just beat across. This section is always a little weird because I just want to go fast on it so bad, but you can't because you'll just likely die. Like there, I don't think it's possible to make that gap in time. This section is always weird because you can get good RNG where you can get through 2 of these sections at once, and then other times you can't. So we did get the 2 RNG at the end, which was nice. That was the fastest I've ever done that part. Normally you have to be a little more patient than I just was. Wow, that's probably the fastest I've ever gone up that temple section. We, I mean, I might save time here to be honest, which is kind of nuts. Here, we're just killing enemies, nothing too crazy. The combat in this game, not the highlight. I think the puzzling and platforming is, you know, definitely where this game shines. But the combat exists. You have a couple moves. You have like a regular punch, you have a charge spin. We'll be utilizing the charge spin when we get to the bosses, but for these enemies, it's much faster to just punch them. And for this last one, all you have to do is kill the big one, so we try to focus that one first. Last bit of puzzling for this section is we're just trying to make the wheel represent the different symbols. We'll do it one more time up here, and then we'll get our first letter. I actually don't remember where I'm supposed to... I don't remember where I'm doing my splits normally. So, I think I'll do it when I turn this letter in. Yeah, there we go. There's a gold. Got our time back. We're back on track. I mean, I think that's where... there is a lot of time save coming up on my splits because there was a new strategy found out for the bosses, which is really nice. But now, you know, we're going back into that flow that I mentioned earlier where we're going to... we activate the letter. You know, we're getting close to saving Riverside. But we're going to need to do a buried underground and then do, you know, the next trial to get the letter. But what's funny about this section is actually before we get to do the buried underground, we do need to get an upgrade first, which is the ability to request Haybales from stations. Haybales are kind of like our mounts in this game. So we'll be doing a little race to get our Haybale. While we're moving around, you know, I can talk a bit about versioning. There has been some interesting discussions recently with versioning, just because, I mean, obviously in this one you can skip the Basilica, which is really nice, but in newer versions, they actually are updating the dialogue even more to make it shorter and shorter. So it's been a, you know, obviously skipping 7 minutes is a lot faster, but there's the idea that playing on the current version, there's some merit to it. As we're running over, I'm trying to do my best to keep coins up, so punching grass where I can. And, you know, I mean, it doesn't save a lot of time, but every second you get to sprint instead of walk regularly is a little bit of time you're saving, so we do our best. Oh, we actually do the buried first. That's my bad. We could have gotten... Dang. So what we're actually going to do is, because it takes time to throw, we're going to throw it a little early, which I could have even gotten more aggressive than that to do it. I didn't go so well. You want to get that first block copied early, so you don't have to wait for another one to come down. But I did forget, we actually do the buried underground first, and now we're going to go get the Haybale. What I try to do with my stamina management as well is I'm not letting my sprint go all the way out, and instead just going like half and half. And I don't know if that's faster or not. You know, it could be the classic Shaq where he's like, oh, I only fill my gas up, you know, when it's half because I'm saving money. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm saving time because I'm sprinting more often, but is it faster to use all the sprint? I don't know. I just don't know. So we're heading over to the farm to get a hay bale. We are going to sequence break a little coming up, where you're meant to like come all the way back here after we save a friend, but we actually just go to the next objective first, and it lets us skip to where we need to right away. No coins there is fine, because it's going to reset our stuff anyways. Missed the multi-select. So there, we copied the lava before that cutscene started, and then threw it before the cutscene started, which let us skip some extra time. And then here, you're meant to go in and try to figure out how you can steal the hay bale, but we already know how to steal it, and we gotta go and make it nighttime. So we're gonna head back into the town to try and make it night. Gonna give a quick shout out as we're doing this to Wheat and Spicy Tacos. Spicy Tacos has been pushing the game, which has been awesome. He's found some, God, I can't think of the word. He made things better, more efficiencies in the route, maybe better routing. He's definitely helped out there and has been, you know, pushing the time down, which rocks. And then Wheat's been doing a lot of glitch hunting. He has actually found something very crazy. This game has very high walls, and he found a way over them. It does use a third-party tool for now, but we're working on trying to make it consistent. So with that, we turned to night, and now we're going to actually run back over there and steal our hay bale. Gonna grab this rock over here just so we don't have to worry about sprint. So, I mean, that's while we're rolling over. The thing Wheat found is if you get on a hay bale and you mash jump fast enough and time it specifically, you can get crazy height. And our main issue with sequence break in this game so far has been that the developers made insanely high walls. Insanely high invisible walls, and we found ways around a couple of them, but largely we've been unable to conquer them. So the new development is pretty cool. There might be an unrestricted category coming soon, which we are pretty excited about. Let's go ahead and steal this hay bale. A routing thing I like to do is I try to avoid these coins because we're going to have to run back through them, and any coins you take, you won't be able to use in the next part. So, gonna go ahead and put the Haybale in, and I'm gonna get ready to race. The race, however, is kind of jacked up because everyone else's Haybales have motors on them and go very fast. So to rig it, we're going to spill some mud along the track. So base game, you know, you sort of figure that out by doing a race. There's one mud section, you're like, oh, they're going really slow over that. And then this next section, shout out to Weed again, he found this. I used to try to go around. You can actually come up to the back of it and hit triangle to start the race, which is pretty funny. So yeah, here you can see everyone's got these souped up hay bales, and we're just running on ours. So we need the mud to cheat. Because where we can cheat a little bit because we can grind on the rails and they can't. Very bizarre design choice for the race, but that's not our problem. There we go. There's the farm racing. So now we're gonna head back and use this hay bale to get across where we couldn't earlier from what we revealed from the buried treasure section, buried underground. I mix it up all the time. We'll also be trying to utilize the hay bale as much as we can, since it is faster than sprinting, and we can do it longer than sprinting. My mind was just on a delay there. Oh my gosh. Alright, and now we're in the graveyard, where we will find our next letter. First puzzle here is we're going to unlock this door. You're meant to talk to all the ghosts to figure out what the puzzle is, but all we need to do is copy this 8. And the pattern is 8228. And we can just use this 2 here to copy that over. This next section has also gone through a lot of developments where we recently realized the ghost's line of sight is way worse than it appears. So we have sort of, you know, once again, our classic Legend of Zelda puzzle. But you can jump around these ghosts pretty easily. Like here again, he's at the end of the hallway, but we can get around him like that. This ghost, we're going to wait for him to turn around. Then we can actually just jump around him again. We'll hide here for this ghost. Oh, that's so sad. Because that was actually just the right way to do that, and I got caught. We're just going to wait the full way, I guess. Pretty sad, but... yeah, so weird. It's weird that that ghost got me. Here we can, once again, sort of just jump over it, and now we're good. Missed the multi-select again. It's fine. And then here we have a cutscene where they tell us what flower colors we should be doing, but we already know. It's red, yellow, and blue. So we'll go ahead and grab one of each and put him onto his grave bed. The point of this is that this ghost is trying to win the best like grave competition, and he's holding a letter hostage. What's funny is if you actually do this color swap prior, he gets mad at you and is like, oh, well, this is nice, but I don't want to give this letter away for free. So you do have to do, go through that ghost sneaking part. I have fallen off those platforms before to get back up here, and it's such a stupid time loss. Another gold. That's primarily because it's my first run since we discovered how bad the line of sight is for the ghosts. So I saved that much time, even with missing one section. So this game definitely still has a ways to go to getting it all the way. But anyways, that's the letter E. And now, once again, we're going to, figure out, hey, the next letter is hidden in this section. But to reach that, we're going to have to do a buried underground, where it's just going to reveal a rail for us. This next section is actually somewhere where we did find an out of bounds to get into this section early. So we did find a way to, pretty early on in the game, skip a lot of it to just get right to this part. But then the issue is once we're in there, there's a massive wall that we can't there's a massive visible wall we can't get around. The primary way we found to get out of bounds early is actually... What's the word for it? You can swap climbable vines onto a waterfall. And if you climb it up on, the edge near the wall, it'll, bump you out of bounds. So, super cool find from Wheat. It just ultimately didn't lead to much because we couldn't, get around any of the invisible walls. So... It's cool that we found the new unrestricted thing with being able to spam the jump button with the Haybales. Now that we have access to our Haybales, speaking of, we'll actually be picking up Haybales here as often as we can because it's faster. So this is where one of the easiest places to get out of bounds is. Whoopsies. These are the waterfalls that you can use to get out of bounds. And it's especially easy because you have the climbable vines right there. This puzzle's pretty easy, but it's important to start with the right swap, which is the circle first. And then we do the triangle. Then we get both of those. And then while this gets pushed up, once we see the second one appear, we can throw this. And that should push it in. So, pretty good. That one went pretty well. Happy with that one. For completing that, it's going to reveal a rail that we can use to cross this gap. And since we have the Haybale already, we don't have to, go find a new one. There's a station right here for us. This next puzzle confused me for the longest time because you're meant to make these two blocks be heavier. But what's weird is that this doesn't really look like it's, it doesn't look like it's the material it is. Like that, the wood thing is something else. Next, in another sort of Zelda way, we have another Lost Woods puzzle. There's a lot of Zelda. This game is a lot of Banjo-Kazooie Zelda comparisons. But yeah, here we have Lost Woods, basically. So we go spade, and then club, and then diamond. That's not the diamond. We go spade, and then club, and then diamond is this way. And then club. Let me copy this. Go to spade. And then it's the heart. Then it's a spade again. And then spade again. And then heart spade. And then here we have a puzzle where we're meant to make both these cards hearts, but you can sort of cheat it by just copying this heart, and then you can multi-select. I thought I broke it for a second. I did find a new jump for this recently that saves a little bit of time. Not this jump, but after we talk to the leader of the... can't remember what the name of these little guys are. But he's the leader of them. So the new jump is going to save a little bit of time. It's kind of neat. If you go into this corner, you can just jump right up instead of climbing the long way. And now we have our Tree of Life puzzles coming up. They're all pretty cool. It's mostly just matching colors, you know, to bring color back to this dying section. So I try to conserve as many of those coins as possible because we're going to have to run back and forth here a little bit. So we want coins available for like the future go-arounds. Something you'll see me do a lot throughout the run too is I try to like, whenever I'm waiting for a copy to happen or a swap, I'll start running towards where I need to go because I can get some distance while waiting for the next part. Oh, are you joking? I was confused why there's no cutscenes. I somehow missed 2 of those trees. Or I copied red back onto them, which is more likely. I think normally I do the apples first, and then I do the treetop second, so I messed that up a bit. Oh, this is interesting. We actually get to do both of these at the same time. I don't know if that's RNG or if that's based on like a global timer, but that's the first time I've been able to do both of those at the same time, which is kind of interesting. This one I don't think actually matters. I think it brings you back to the same place, but sort of a force of habit at this point. So yeah, we've restored color back to the Tree of Life, and now we can go get our last letter. So here you're meant to, again, sort of climb up this tree the long way, the scenic route, but we're not taking the scenic route. We're going to just copy our climbing material and come up these tall waterfalls that are going off the side. One last copy. And then we're out. The letter gets picked up during those cutscenes at some point. I'm realizing that it looks like we literally haven't picked up a single letter and they're just appearing, but we're doing it. Ruffy's doing his job. looks like another great split. Don't remember what I did to save time. What's in that split that would have saved me time? I think I did the underground better, and I think I did the bit after you do the rail where you have to like swap the waterfall thing to make you go up. I think I did that faster. Oh, and the thing I talked about with the climbing, that's a little faster. So, time save there. It's a shame my Crash Island was so bad. That split didn't suck so much. This would be nuts. And really, my Crash Island didn't even suck. It was just, you know, I got caught by a tornado. So I think the only real bad things I've done this run so far is I got caught by the tornado, and then that one puzzle skip I failed twice, which not a big deal. And we do have our big time save coming up soon, where we skip a lot of boss time. So I'm very excited to try that out. Because actually I've only seen the videos so far. I haven't actually gotten to try it myself. So excited to, get my hands on it. So obviously we are skipping a lot of cool parts of this game. Earlier when I said, oh, game gets compared to Banjo-Kazooie a lot, you're probably thinking no shot. It's mostly due to the fact that you play as the little bear, but the other part is that it is a pretty big collectathon. There's a lot of stuff to collect in this game. We just sort of have skipped past all of those, obviously, because they're not required to beat the game. But there are a lot of different collectibles you can pick up, which I think is fun in general. Here we do a nice little skip where we jump off the rail early to get to our buried. Puzzle's pretty easy. The Haybales can be weird when you're trying to turn. The easiest way to do it is if you just like jump and point in the direction you're facing, it'll turn it for you, which is really nice. Whenever we have ladders, we gotta climb up off of Haybales also. We try our best to jump off the Haybale near the ladder to just save some time climbing. And now we have a pretty interesting section. We sort of enter the Tony Hawk portion of the game, where we're gonna enter this jumping competition. But, unfortunately, all our competitors are really good, and we are just kind of okay. So, our goal here is to gain points and do perfect landings, so that we can do cooler tricks with better height. Our main goal is we just want to get 5 digits. If we can get 5 digits and make one of the digits a 9, we pretty much guarantee ourselves a win. And that's because the swap also applies to the scoreboard. So here I'm going to just do a couple tricks. We need just 2 more. Alright. And now we can just sort of hang out. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make our score 99,999 using our 9. And we're going to make everyone else's score 0. As you can see here, these guys are crushing us, especially Billy. Billy's unreal at this. So we're just going to go ahead and erase their scores. And we're going to grab our next block, which is the iron one. And we can go for a high score. This might be an incentive, maybe, is going for as high of a score as I can, and then some sort of donation incentive. But, you know, that's something to figure out for exactly how it could work. ahead and show off one of the lawn tricks here. I got the same one twice. There you go. The twins is great. And the Triforce is pretty good. So you still do have to do like a couple tricks here because I think it's possible for them to score like close to 90k in one round. So it's always good to just get points here anyways. But with that, we absolutely crush, and we're the winners. So now we're gonna grab this block and come and talk to. Oops. Forgot to talk to her first. Alright, then we come in here and get this. Oopsies. Gonna lose a little time on the split, because this split doesn't have a whole lot of time save on account of it being mostly side scrollers. By side scrollers, I mean, like, you can't really save time on the competition, and then here you can't really save time either, unless you do it on the first try, which I had to take a few extra goes on the ramp. And there we lost the letter, so we're gonna jump back down, and we're gonna go figure out where it is. This puzzle coming up is pretty interesting. If I can actually grab wood instead of green. Then I want to grab metal. That's stone. So you make both these metal to pull it towards the, wow, I can't think of words. You make them both metal to pull this wheel over towards that magnet, and then you turn the magnet back to wood so that you can make the wheel go back over the bridge, and then you turn the wheel into stone so that it breaks the bridge, and then you turn it back into wood to let you float on it down this river. So it's a lot of just quick swapping back and forth, which when you do it fast and efficiently, it looks really cool. When you miss everything a couple times like I did, it looks a little less cool. And now we have just like another side-scrolling section where we can't really control the speed of it. We just have to make sure we don't lose, because then that's a pretty awful time to the boss. I think we got one more jump coming up, and then we're good. Nope, lied one more. It all kind of blurs together. It's a pretty boring section, but music's nice. And here we're going to pick up our next letter. The next section is where we have our first big time save as well, so hopefully I do everything right. Didn't think I did that badly. That's crazy. I need to check where I split that. Because I refuse to believe I'm that far behind. I don't think I did that section that poorly. Did I fail anything? I missed like a couple jumps. I guess I did the puzzle kind of slowly. Oh well. You can see my next split says Grohl 1. We're coming up on our first boss. Grohl's a big cube dude. So we're going to have our first fight with him after we do a quick buried area. This is my big time save. We found out, or no, Spicy Tacos. Shout out Spicy. Or Tacos. I'm not sure what she prefers. Shout out to him. He found out that you can actually attack Grohl earlier than we thought you could. Which saves a pretty good chunk of time. We also have our last buried underground puzzle coming up. Definitely the hardest one. I have lost a lot of time on this buried puzzle, but I swear I practiced it before this run, so when I fail it anyways, I can feel really bad about myself. But I'm sure it'll be fine. So you want to get triangles all the way across. And then you want to remove the second one here. And then once this lands and gets stuck in there, we gotta remove this one. And this one. And we're going to take this from there. And then we're going to push it back with that one. Alright, I think that's the best I've done that puzzle. And I think we can go faster once I familiarize myself with that exact pattern. Because I have figured it out in some not good ways where it works, but it doesn't work cleanly. So that felt good. Glad that worked. Alright, now we have our first boss fight of the run. This is Grohl. He's the one that's trying to take over the world. We're going to start by dodging these missiles. And, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the boss fighting and fighting in general isn't, like, the highlight of the game. But that doesn't mean they're not dangerous. Especially with only 3 health and no health upgrades. You can mess this up. Alright, sweet. So, that's where the part we skipped. We made it so, normally you have to, like, sit through him rotating lasers around, but there we skipped that by attacking him during the laser part. So, shout out Spicy Tacos for finding that. So, we'll do that again. And then after each phase of the boss, you have to solve a quick math puzzle. They're funny because you're, like, we're gonna have to go backwards and pick up, like, this one, for example, to help solve this next one. So, we'll see how that goes here. Alright, phase 2 down. I can't remember how to do this. I need like a... Nope, I lied, I'm stupid. That's very easy. I looked at 3 plus 1 and couldn't figure out that meant 4. Oh no. Alright, so this part can be scary because these stone enemies are actually like a little difficult. But we made it through. Alright, and here we need a 3 that we can get from back here. Alright. Sweet. That's a really good growl, I think. Wow. Wow. Yeah, shout out Spicy Tacos. What on earth? Alright, here's Current of Colors, probably my least favorite part of the game, but it's still cool. We want to do every color except green, because we can just pick up green from this here. And we're missing red. Perfect. So part of the routing with Current of Colors is, you know, you can kind of always ignore the green color because you can always just pick it up from like a tree. Same with like blue sometimes. But yeah, the routing for this section is very interesting with deciding what you should and shouldn't copy. It's like here we see green, but we're not gonna... Okay, I mean, I guess we'll copy it. That's gonna change to yellow, so we'll grab the yellow while we're here as well. We see that that became red, so we're gonna wait for the red to come back. And then there's a neat skip here where we can go around this section. Because the last one we need, the last two colors we can find on this beach over here. So we're actually just going to hover around. And then our last two colors we can get right here. So we gotta wait for white to pop up. There we go. Oh, whoops. Alright, and now this part's on a bit of a timer because you just gotta be efficient and make sure you don't miss any color opportunities. Whew, okay. I think we're good. Alright, and then one more section of switching colors around, and then we're good. Alright, so here we have that little meteorite that switches colors around us. So we routed out a specific way to make sure we get all the colors. Actually gonna head straight. Okay. Never had that happened before. So we're gonna grab this green, which lets us skip the one that's right in front of us. So this section specifically, I think there is a lot of room to grow route-wise if we just, you know... At some point, I just gotta make a save point here so that I can keep trying it out until I find something that's really good. Because, I mean, I feel like, you know, if you have it, like the orb thing, around maybe some of the trees or the rocks, like maybe you can get a color that you need. But overall, the whole point of this actually is just swapping all the colors onto Growl and making it through each section. We find out, though, what happened is we beat Growl. Growl was like, I changed my mind, I want to be your friend. We did all this and gave him his powers back, basically. He's like, yeah, I was obviously joking, like, I'm a bad person. So, now Growl is back to being evil, and we need to teleport back to stop him. Pretty good current of colors. Alright, so now that you defeated Growl, we're actually going to go back over to where we just were, because there is another letter hidden up in the wilderness, which is what this next section is called. So here we're going to have to talk to the leader of the Wilders, but when you do that, you find out that, oh, I am missing a bunch of my little pet e-toys is what they're called. Toys? Something like that. So we're actually just going to rescue them all first before we go over to him to just save ourselves the time. There we do a ground pound for the first time in this entire run, and the only time. That move is not utilized anywhere else, ever. I'm going to reverse the direction of this wheel using that swap. And that's going to save the first toy. Our next puzzle, we're just going to go ahead and copy some wood now. Did not stay, so no reason to do that. It's good to know. That completing that puzzle is going to release the next one. Then we're going to wrap it up with a quick color swap puzzle. So here we need to make all of these murals match the colors around it. One thing to note as I'm doing this is I play on controller because I think the multi-select is easier. But I do think there's a world where it's much faster to play on mouse and keyboard because you could probably flick the mouse around to get swaps faster. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to change controls in this game, and the multi-select on mouse and keyboard is atrocious. So, I stick with this for now, with controller, and I just increase the sensitivity. So now we gain access to these warp pipes, and basically how it works is that you warp to the pipe of the same color. So, cool new mechanic. With that symbol found, we're able to go and collect the last letter now. Well, not last, second to last letter. We have a bit of platforming. Oh, yeah, I wussied out. I mean, I could have made that jump 100%, and I wussied out from it. Alright, sweet. And again, can't remember where I split. It might be as soon as I collect the letter. But I'm just going to assume it's when I go into the Basilica. Basilica? I want to figure out how to pronounce this before the event. I'll tell you that much. Okay, I thought for a second I, like, broke the game. Lost a little bit of time. Not sure where. I think I moved Braun at a couple points, so it's fine. Actually, I'm very shocked that's slower. Didn't I do the... Oh, the puzzle was a part of the last, like, 2 splits ago. Never mind. Get pretty close to the end of the game, though. We have, basically just, like, 2 more boss fights and, like, 1 more puzzle area. And we're done. The cutscene skipping was an absolutely massive part of this time being cut down a lot, because there is about, at the end of the game, like in the last split, there was like 15 minutes of cutscenes. Which, base game was cool and fine. It's like a very cute cutscene where you like meet everyone that you've worked with and you all work together to go defeat Grawl. Speedrun though, it's less cool and exciting. Here's Grawl. He has a really cool line where he's like, yeah, you're playing with letters? Well, I got a few for you. And he spells out game over. Very, very cool stuff. Anyways, he destroys the Basilica. All hope is lost. But our boy, Snoko, comes to rescue us. And he's like, hey, actually, I can return all the power to the place. I just need to rig some TVs. If you climb up the side of the ladder, you actually get this cutscene, like, a little quicker, which is cool. Yeah, anyways, we're gonna go to Cilia now. Because we're worried about her. Because Grawl went for Cilia, sorry. He went to go try to corrupt her. Cilia is a giant turtle that we've talked to a couple times in this run. I don't know if we properly met her. That was the other funny part about the long cutscene at the end, is if you, you know, obviously during the speedrun, there's, like, a lot of side people that are involved with, like, collectibles that you never meet, and for whatever reason, they are, like, a very big part of, of that last cutscene. So, it's pretty funny. So, we're heading back into the wilderness. And we're going to talk to the big boss and ask for help with defeating her. And I don't know if he actually helps us. I think he just lets us into the way where she is. So. Methok. I'm going to talk to him. This is something that we are looking to try to get out of bounds for. That out of bounds would save a lot of time. So now we're going to do some quick puzzles where we just got to match colors. If you stand here, you can get most of them. You have to move a little bit for the blue one. And then we have a cool skip coming up once we do this puzzle. So we're going to keep this green copied for the next puzzle as well. Because you're meant to do a bunch of platforming, but instead, if you just get these 2 with green, you can skip all of the puzzle here. Because all we need is this symbol, and then we can fly across, and we're good. And now we have our next boss fight of the game. And this one can cost you a lot of time if you mess it up, which I've done on PB pace runs. It's, again, it's pretty easy, mostly, but it's also very easy to mess up, because if you step in the water, you just die. So, you gotta be careful. And there's not a whole lot of places to save time in the fight. So... Fight's pretty easy. She's gonna start spitting lava balls at us. The last one's gonna explode and become lava. Or this one will do it. And we just turn what she's drinking into lava. So that's the part you can time save a little bit, is getting up to her fast and beating her up. Alright, just gonna do the lava thing again. Or the rock spitting. That was, sometimes the attacking in this game is a little funky, as you saw there. Phase 3, she gets a new attack. She bleeds fire out. Nothing too crazy. Oopsies. Not gonna lie, she mixed me up a little bit. Thankfully, we got through it pretty unscathed. And then here we got to copy water. We change this to water. You'd have to get a little closer. Forgot that part. So, we beat the corruption out of her. And now we have like an Indiana Jones type escape sequence. I don't quite remember where all the stuff in the way is. I kind of just do it on vibes. I'm sure there's, you know, a way to memorize where all this stuff is and make that go faster. I'll get to it eventually. Feels a lot like City Escape. Please work. Thank you. Whew. You need to turn that into wood as fast as possible. So, got on the first try there, which I normally feel like I don't do, actually. I'll have to review my other footage, but... there was kind of a grim, me and my bee friend. We thought it was all over. We were falling off the edge of the world. We come back, find out, oh no, we don't know where the letter is. Grawl's gonna defeat us. And Celia's like, actually, I've had the letter this whole time. I'm just waiting for someone pure of soul to, you know, make sure you're okay to have it. And because we literally saved her life, she deemed us pure enough, so... Yeah, with that, we're gonna head back up to the Riverside sign, where we're going to put this on a TV for Snoko. So, we're coming up on the end of the game. All we have left is... Oh! All we have left is one more boss fight. some reason you can't skip this or speed this up, but lost some time there also. Don't know if I mistimed it or whatever, but I always forget what I meant to do there. that's on me. And honestly, maybe I was even supposed to split there, which would make it that I lost even more time. I'm not sure how that would have happened, but what can you do? But the last letter in place, you know, we're ideally like, oh, we saved the world. Grawl stops us again. Our original master comes back and says, oh, you've done good. You know, everyone comes together to help us. And then we fight. We're gonna go fight Grawl one last time. So we're gonna go to our new world, the healed world core. As soon as we open it, Grawl's like, actually, I'm gonna mess everything up. So again, this is where being able to skip cutscenes saved an unreal amount of time in the run. Because all those cutscenes you saw me skip, these cutscenes I'm skipping now, and then this last cutscene was like genuinely like a 10-minute cutscene. So I shout out to Zoc Labs. They made an awesome game, but yeah, speedrunning wise, I'm really glad they added the cutscene skip. That was very cool of them because they did not have to do that, but they did. So here we like defeat Grawl, and then he like comes back again. He's like, no, this is my real form actually. So we defeat him again, and then we go up to space, and now we fight Grawl one last time. I think Edler, I don't remember this part of the story. I think Edler actually betrayed us. But yeah. Anyways, we're gonna have time save here again, with the same trick we did last time. Fun fact about there's two parts to this fight, so we can talk about it more in that section. But Spicy Tacos found this ridiculous, I don't know if it was a glitch that happened to him, but he did something that saved him a lot of time in the second part of this fight that we're trying to still recreate and figure out how he did it. But it basically let him skip like an entire health bar section, which was kind of nuts. So maybe it happens to me. We're still working on trying to figure out how he made it happen and how we can recreate it, though. So again, we're saving a pretty good amount of time with the early damage to Grawl, which is cool. So we should see another gold here, unless I die. Fingers crossed. Don't want to jinx it. Alright, there's phase 1. Now this is Grawl's ultimate form. So here, all we do is we, to beat him, we're looking to catch the ice. And then once the ice is down, we can start beating up on him. What Spicy Tacos did, that saved a bunch of time, is somehow, after this, there was still an ice thing in the arena that he was able to use to immediately freeze Grawl again. Because what Grawl's gonna do now is he's gonna do this really annoying fire pattern. That, I mean, if we just stand on here, we dodge, but, you know, the fire isn't the annoying part. The annoying part is the time spent. And now we know there's a way to somehow skip one of these. Uh-oh. Alright, so here we're gonna scan the ice out of the air again. Alright, and this last phase is the most scary because we'll need to break open meteorites as they fall. But if a meteorite lands on you, you just instantly die. So you gotta be careful when you're breaking open the meteorites to make sure that others aren't landing on you. And also when you're scanning and swapping the ice onto Grawl, that you don't get crushed during that part either. So, I could take it slow, but I'm also on a bit of a pace, so I'm not going to. We also need to find one that has ice in it, which it's never taken me this long to find ice. There we go. So a bit of time loss because it took me a bunch of meteorites to find the ice. That might be RNG. I mean, I guess it is RNG. But this Edler, he was inside Grawl for some reason. And yeah, all we have left now is some cutscene skipping. We gotta talk to everyone and get sort of like a recap on what we've done. And then the game ends pretty soon. So, with that, you know, this has been Ruffy in the Riverside. And let's close it out. Alright, and then the game ends on the last sort of dialogue we get when Mina and Edler are talking to each other about like a possible future threat, something like that. Apparently, like, oh, maybe the danger is not all done. Anyways. There we go. Cool. I meant for this just to be sort of like a GDQ recording, but instead I got a new world record. So that's cool. Anyways, this is Ruffy in the Riverside. Appreciate you watching.